Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining Manage Engine Key Manager Plus webinar. My name is Arul. I'm one of the technical consultant here at Manage Engine. So before we begin, a few housekeeping rules. All attendees will be on listen-only mode by default. If you have any questions during the webinar, please leave them in the Q&A panel. So the session recording will be sent to all attendees in a couple of days. You can send your feedback and questions to keymanagerplus-support at manageengine.com. So let's dive into the demo without any delay. So the agenda for today's demo, so we are going to look at the need for certificate management with Manage Engine Service Desk Plus, the 90-day certificate validity proposal, and then we'll be looking at the certificate lifecycle management with Key Manager Plus. What are the benefits of automated lifecycle management? Now, so the need for certificate lifecycle management. So hope you would have all come across mismanaged certificate. So it usually refers to a domino effect of challenges where one mismanaged certificate triggers a series of interconnected problems. So due to which security breaches that have occurred with various industries and organizations in the past. So these breaches leads to data leaks, service disruption, and other security incident. So as we all know, some of the notable security breaches due to mismanaged SSL certificates with Yahoo, where they suffered multiple breaches due to various security lapses, including certificate mismanagement. Microsoft, where an SSL certificate expiry disrupted services of customers for both Azure DevOps and MS Azure Cloud Platform. So these incidents disrupted services of customers and highlighted the importance of timely certificate renewal. So some of the common consequences of mismanaged SSL certificates are data breach, where attackers can intercept and access sensitive data if SSL certificates are expired or mismanaged. Service disruptions, so users might be unable to access services, leading to productivity losses and dissatisfaction. Loss of trust, so customers may lose confidence in an organization's ability to protect their data. And finally, when it comes to financial losses, so companies may costs related to remediation, legal fines, and loss of business. Okay. Now, so let's take a look at the seamless integration we currently have with Service Desk Plus on-premise. Now, the integration with Service Desk Plus supports two functionalities, where we have an integration with the Service Desk Plus CMDB and the Service Desk Plus ticketing system. So Key Manager Plus integrates with Service Desk Plus on-premise to automatically create a service request for vulnerable or expiring SSL certificates. So this integration ensures that periodic tickets are created in Service Desk Plus to alert the technicians and take timely actions to reduce the security threats posed by expiring or vulnerable SSL certificates. So let's dive into a quick demo on how this integration works between Key Manager Plus and Service Desk Plus. So I have this trial version set up for Key Manager Plus. So to integrate Key Manager Plus with Service Desk Plus, first we'll take a look at the CMDB integration. So under Settings, Service Desk Plus, you have the option where you can provide the technician key and the server URL. And once saved, if you click the CMDB, here you have the option to enable certificate sync. And there are two options. You can either create a new CI type or use an existing CI type. So for this demo, I've already created a new CI type by providing the CI type and the parent CI type. And after clicking on save, the same gets reflected in Service Desk Plus. So here in Service Desk Plus web interface, if you go to CMDB, you'll be able to view the CMDB created for Key Manager Plus. And here, the data, the certificates data that is imported into the Key Manager Plus repository will be synchronized. And this provides you the option to centrally manage the SSL certificates from Service Desk Plus. So the CMDB integration is to make sure that the existing data in Key Manager Plus is synchronized in real time with the CMDB created in Service Desk Plus. Now, apart from this CMDB integration, Key Manager Plus also integrates with the Service Desk Plus ticketing system. So here you enable the option for ticketing system for Service Desk Plus, again by providing the technician key, server URL. And once done, if you click on the fetch templates, you can pre-configure templates in SDP, and you can select the template with which you'd like to create the tickets. And once after you click on save, the notification policy has to be configured. So the ticketing system is based on the notification policy, where you can configure the number of days before which you should start receiving notifications. So this option is customizable. So here, for example, if you enter 90 days, if you have certificates that are about to expire within 90 days, that is 1 to 89, Key Manager Plus will trigger this alert, and this will be created as a ticket in Service Desk Plus, and you'll be able to view them under request. So I've already created some requests. So this is how the request will be created, and if you click on it, you'll be able to view some detailed information of the certificate that is about to expire, like the common name, serial number, the DNS name from where the certificate was discovered, and the expiry date. Now, from here, you do have the option for deploying certificate, renewing certificates, and even scanning them for vulnerabilities. Now, currently, when it comes to certificate renewal from the Service Desk Plus interface, if you click on the custom actions and click renew certificate, so self-signed certificates and Microsoft Certificate Authorities certificates are the only supported renewals at this time. Now, we also have plans to support third-party certificate authority signed certificates in the near future. Here, you just click the renew button for a given certificate, and let's wait. So you get a pop-up that the certificate is successfully renewed. So if you go to the Key Manager Plus repository, and if you take a look at the certificate, so this certificate was successfully renewed, as you see the creation time. Now, the same way, if you are to deploy certificates from Service Desk Plus, you can choose the deploy certificate option, and it gives you the list of deployments supported. So the Windows and Linux deployment will act as a file transfer, where we can copy the certificate file in a preferred format and store it to a specific location on the target machine in the preferred file name. So here you can choose the file type. If it is the certificate, you can go for the file X509 types like CER, DER, or P7B. If it is the key store, you can go with the key store formats like .keystore, .pfx, .pem, and .key. Once done, you can just click the deploy button. The same way, you can also perform direct deployments to Microsoft Certificate Stores or the Microsoft Management Console's personal store. And you can also deploy and install certificates to Internet Information Services. So apart from renewing and performing deployment actions from Service Desk Plus, you can also scan for vulnerabilities. So if you click the scan button, the vulnerability scan gets initiated and it gets reflected in Service Desk Plus. Okay. Right. So effortless management from Service Desk Plus. So this integration allows you to receive proactive alerts for certificates approaching expiration, real-time identifications of certificate vulnerabilities, renewal of self-signed and Microsoft Certificate Authority signed, deploy and exporting certificate details to Service Desk Plus CMDB. Now let's take a look at how Key Manager Plus is exhibiting readiness for the potential 90-day certificate mandate. So as we all know, the validity period of SSL certificates has evolved significantly over the years to enhance security and keep pace with the changing threat landscape. So initially, SSL certificates were issued with validity period of up to 10 years, 5 years, 3 years, 2 years. So this long duration were convenient to administrator, but also posed significant security threats. So the current trend that we are following, or the maximum validity period of SSL certificates has been reduced to 1 year. So the shorter validity period enhances security by ensuring that the certificates are updated more frequently, reducing the risk of using compromised or outdated cryptographic algorithms. So Key Manager Plus has almost adapted the recent trends to the 90-day certificate mandate. So this allows you to integrate Key Manager Plus with the Acme providers like BypassGo SSL, Zero SSL, and Let's Encrypt. So Let's Encrypt is the one who started the 90-day certificates. So with these vendors, you can create certificate request from Key Manager Plus, and Key Manager Plus allows you to automatically renew them 15 days prior to its expiry, which is on the 75th day. In addition to this, we also integrate Key Manager Plus with commercial certificate authorities like GoDaddy, DigiCert, Global Science, Sectigo, etc. Okay, so let's quickly dive in to a demo of the certificate management with Key Manager Plus. So the first step when it comes to managing SSL certificates using Key Manager Plus is to discover the existing certificates across your network and import them into the Key Manager Plus certificate repository. Now, Key Manager Plus supports different types of discovery scans that allows you to discover certificates from different endpoints, or you can also discover certificates directly from the signing authority. Now, the discovery options here are the SSL discovery that allows you to discover certificates from a web server. So if it is a single web server, you can either provide the host name or the IP address of the DNS name followed by the port number. If you have multiple port numbers, you can add them separated by commas and click the Discover button. So as soon as you click the Discover button, you'll be directed to the discovery status. And this is an example where, as you see, if the certificate is discovered successfully, you'll have a green check mark. In case if it fails, you'll have a red X. And from the description, you can identify why the discovery has failed. Similarly, you can also perform bulk discovery scans based on an IP address range where you can provide the start IP address, end IP address. You also have options to exclude IP addresses within the provided range. Mention the port number, click the Discover button. Or you can also discover certificates based on specific subnets. So here you can provide the IP address in the CIDR format, mention the port number, click the Discover button, or even upload a file that contains the list of servers. So this SSL discovery scan, when initiated, is going to perform an X509 lookup. Any certificate hosted on the port number that you have specified will be made a copy of in the Key Manager Plus database. So apart from the web server discovery, you can also discover certificates from the mail servers present in your network or from SSH-based load balancers like Nginx, BigIP F5, Citrix, FortiGate Firewall. And we also help you to bulk import certificate files from a shared path based on the operating system like Windows, Linux, or Mac OS. We can also discover and import certificates from the user accounts in the Active Directory. And the most commonly used discovery feature is the Microsoft Certificate Store, where we support two types. The Certificate Store allows you to discover certificates from the Microsoft Management Console. So here, after providing the server name, if you click the Get Stores button, this will retrieve the list of available stores from that specific server, from which you could choose and click the Discover button. So as soon as you click the Discover button, this discovery will be quick. And if you click on the host name to check the discovery status, you should be able to view the status of the discovery. For bulk discovery, you can either go with an IP address range option or by uploading a file that contains the list of servers. The second type is Microsoft Certificate Authority. Now, Key Manager Plus directly integrates with your internal CA, and this provides you the option to directly discover and import certificates from your internal CA. So here, you provide the Microsoft CA's server name, followed by the certificate authority name, which is nothing but the issuer name. And you can customize the discovery where you can include or exclude expired revoked certificates. You can go with the date filter option, and you can also discover certificates based on specific templates. So here, if you select the template from the dropdown, you can just click the Discover button, which in turn will discover and import certificates directly from your Microsoft Certificate Authority. So most of the discovery scans that you perform is going to be agentless if there is a direct network access from the Key Manager Plus server to the target. Now, let's say if you run into scenarios where the servers are in a DMZ zone, or if they are beyond a firewall, or if you have two different domains with no trust relationship, in those cases, you can use the Key Manager Plus Windows agents to discover and import certificates. So apart from this, we also help you to discover certificates hosted in Amazon Web Services, where you can discover certificates based on AWS Certificate Manager with specific regions, or you can discover certificates, user certificates from Identity and Access Management. Similarly, we also directly integrate with the Azure Key Vaults, and this integration allows you to discover the SSL certificates and the TLS secrets stored in the Key Vaults. And finally, we also directly integrate with ManageEngine's Mobile Device Manager. And this integration allows you to discover and import certificates directly from the mobile devices. So most of the discovery scans under the Discovery tab can be automated as a best practice. So if you go to Schedule, you can just click Add Schedule, provide a schedule name, and you can choose the schedule type as SSL discovery. So here you can go for IP address range, subnet from a file, or load balancer based on the recurrence type that you're going to choose, either daily, weekly, or monthly. The tool is going to automatically run the scan, and it will also notify you through an email upon successful discovery. So any certificate discovered will be directly imported under the SSL tab. So this is the actual inventory where you'll be able to view some detailed information about the certificates. The valid to date that you see here is color coded. If a certificate is already expired, it will be coded red. In case if the certificate is about to expire, it will be coded amber. Now, once the certificates are imported into the repository, the next step is to manage them based on the signing authorities. Now, in Key Manager Plus, you can categorize the certificates into two types: internally signed and externally signed. Now, let's take a look at the internally signed certificates. So when it comes to internally signed certificates, so we can consider self-signed certificate where the common name and the issuer name are the same, certificate signed by the Microsoft Certificate Authority, and certificate signed by the private certificate authority or a root certificate. Certificates that are self-signed is pretty straightforward. So using this create button, you can create a self-signed certificate by providing the details like the common name. You can have multiple SAN names separated by commas, the organization details. You can customize the encryption types like the key algorithm, the key size, and the signature algorithm. So once done, just specify the validity and number of days, create a store password, and then click the create button. So this will create a self-signed certificate. Now, to create a Microsoft Certificate Authority signed certificate, we have a separate tab for Microsoft Certificate Authority. So here you have an option to request certificate, which in turn is going to prompt you to enter the server name, the certificate authority name, and the template name with which the certificate has to be signed. So once done, if you have a certificate signing request, you can import the certificate signing request beforehand and choose that from the drop-down, or you have an option to create the certificate signing request. So here you provide the common name, again, the organization details, customize the encryption types, set the validity and number of days, create the store password, and click the create button. So this will send the certificate request to the Microsoft Certificate Authority, and the issued certificate will be instantly imported into the repository. So I have pre-populated the certificates signed by the Microsoft CA in our environment. Okay. Now, when it comes to third-party certificate authorities, Key Manager Plus integrates with both Acme and commercial CAs. So for the Acme, we support direct integrations with Let's Encrypt, Bypass GoSSL, and Zero SSL. In addition to this, you also have the option to configure custom Acme. So here under settings, SSL Acme providers, you can add an Acme provider by providing the relevant details and click the save button. So this Acme provider will then be listed under the existing list of providers. So now, for example, if you go for the Bypass GoSSL, now Key Manager Plus allows you to create certificate request. So before that, some of the prerequisites are to create a new registration, or if you already have an account, you can use the add account button to add the existing account. In addition to that, you also need to configure the DNS providers for DNS validation. So by default, we support HTTP and DNS validation. If it is DNS validation, you just go to the DNS tab, click the Add button, and here we provide you with a list of supported DNS providers like Azure, Cloudflare, Amazon Route 53, RFC, GoDaddy, Cloud DNS, and DNS Made Easy. So you have to select the respected provider, provide the required details, and click the Save button. So as you see, I've already configured Cloudflare as the DNS provider. Now, once done, you can create certificate request from Key Manager Plus by providing the certificates common name, SAN names. If it is multiple, you can add them separated by commas with no space. And then you can choose the challenge type. So it can either be the DNS challenge or the HTTP challenge. So if you're going to go with the DNS challenge, you can select the DNS provider from the drop-down, provide the required details like the key algorithm, the key type, or the signature algorithm. And for this request, we have provided you 3 options. So upon renewal, you can customize this to create a new private key as a best practice, or you can use the same key or import an existing key. And once you click the Create button, this is how the certificate request will be created. And you'll have a pending button here. So if you click on it, certificate request will be verified based on the challenge type, and the status will be set to saved. So once done, you'll be able to view the certificate listed under the certificate repository. So here, if I go search for Bypass SSL, I have the certificate created. So when you create certificates from Key Manager Plus, by default, the certificate will be available as a bundle that contains both the public and the private key. So you can easily identify them using this key store button. So if you click on it, you can export them in key store formats. Or if you click the common name of the certificate, you can export the certificate in all X509 formats. Now, once the certificates are created for Bypass SSL, an APME provider, Key Manager Plus is designed to auto-renew these certificates 15 days prior to its expiry, which is on the 75th day. And you can also pre-configure the certificate deployment for these type of certificates, which is supported in a form of a file transfer. So when this certificate is automatically renewed, we can also automatically deploy this certificate an endpoint by performing a file transfer, where the certificate will be copied in a preferred format and stored to a specific location on the target machine. So if an already existing file is present, we will replace that file with a new file name. Now, when it comes to the commercial CAs, so as you see, we directly integrate with third-party certificate authorities like GoDaddy, the SSL Store, DigiCert, GlobalSign. So this integration allows you to directly integrate Key Manager Plus with the respective certificate authority through an API call. And using this integration, you can order new certificates, renew existing certificates, reissue and revoke certificates. So coming back to this slide, certificate management simplified with ManageEngine. So you can perform end-to-end certificate discovery, configure timely alerts, so that's which can be configured as an email notification or a syslog notification, or integrate with Service Desk Plus so the tickets are generated. You can also create certificates based on the signing authorities, both internal and external, and renew them. and you can also deploy certificates to target machines. So when it comes to certificate deployment in Key Manager Plus, so if you look at the deployment types, currently we support Windows and Linux, which acts as a file transfer. So here you provide the server name, a valid path, as we saw from Service Desk Plus, and click the deploy button. Apart from this, you can directly deploy certificates from Key Manager Plus. Like you can perform a certificate store deployment, or you can even deploy and bind certificates to websites hosted on an IIS server. You can directly deploy certificates to ManageEngine's mobile device manager based on the device platform. You can also deploy certificates to AWS Certificate Manager based on specific regions. And you can also perform end-to-end deployment for load balancers like Citrix ADC and FortiGate Firewall. Now, when it comes to automation, Key Manager Plus can automatically renew certificates with the currently supported authorities. So you can automate the certificate renewal for internally signed, and you can also automate the certificate renewal for externally signed. So this automation should be a one-time configuration. So you pre-configure the automatic renewal. So if it is an internally signed certificate, you can go to Settings, SSL, Certificate Renewal. So here you can configure automatic renewal for Microsoft CA, self-sign, and private CA sign. If it is a third-party certificate authority, you go to the respective CA tab, and here under Manage, you'll have the auto renewal, where you can pre-configure the automatic renewal based on the days to expire. For Acme, it is supported by default, and it is available out of the box with the design. So it will be automatically renewed 15 days prior to its expiry. Okay. All right. Now, Key Manager Plus also supports a private CA feature, and this allows you to use Key Manager Plus as a certificate authority. So you can either use Key Manager Plus with an existing CA like the Microsoft Certificate Authority, or you can use it as a complete replacement for the Microsoft Certificate Authority. So this allows you to issue and manage digital certificates for internal resources, which in turn enhances security and you control over certificates management. So let's quickly take a look at the private CA feature in Key Manager Plus. So here, this private CA feature allows you to create a root certificate. So you just go and create a root certificate, set the validity in number of days, create the store password, click on create. Now this will create a root CA certificate, and using this root CA certificate, you can request and sign intermediate certificate. So you have the option to sign the intermediate certificate. And if you click the advanced options, you can customize the key usage and the extended key usage, like certificate sign, server authentication, or client authentication, and click on create. So you can create as many sub CAs as possible. So the root certificate will be kept offline. So you'll be signing the certificates using the intermediate certificate. So if you take a look at the signed certificate for the root CA, you'll have the sub CA certificate. And if you take a look at the certificate hierarchy, you should be able to see the chain, the root and the intermediate. Now, once done, then you can go request the end entity certificates, which will be signed by the intermediate certificate. So now if I take a look at the signed certificates under the intermediate CA, you'll have the end entity certificate. And if you take a look at the server hierarchy, you'll have the root CA, the intermediate CA, and the end entity certificate. So before deploying this end entity certificate, you have to make sure that the root certificate and the intermediate certificate created using the private CA feature in Key Manager Plus is made trusted by all domain join machines. Once done, you can use this end entity certificate and deploy it to the web service in your environment. So for the private CA feature, again, you can create, you can renew, and you can also configure deployment. Right. So the benefits of automated certificate management, being it internally signed or externally signed. So effortless and timely renewal of certificates. It also reduces cost associated in managing digital identity. So instead of you going and purchasing certificates from third-party certificate authorities, you can also have certificates created internally for internal purposes. It also reduces errors in certificate management, and it also enhances scalability with growing certificate needs. Right. So your ideal certificate management routine with Key Manager Plus. So we have created two workflows for certificates lifecycle management. So first, using Key Manager Plus, you can procure certificates from an internal or an external signing authority. In addition to that, you can discovery scans across your network, import all certificates into the repository so that you can configure notification alerts and receive timely alerts on certificate renewal prior to its expiry. And workflow 2 is monitoring and maintaining these certificates. Now, once the certificates are imported into the Key Manager Plus repository, you can configure periodic vulnerability scans. Now, these vulnerability scans will check for the revocation status of the certificate along with the end server vulnerabilities, like the known vulnerabilities, Heartbleed or Poodle, weak ciphers, if SSL version 3 is enabled or not. And you can also receive domain expiration alerts. So these two workflows combined together will fall under the renewal. So when it comes to renewal, you can either manually renew the certificate or you can automate the renewal process and pre-configure the deployment so that the certificate is automatically renewed and deployed to the target endpoints supported by Key Manager Plus. So finally, we have the real-time audits and reports in Key Manager Plus. So the report tab provides you with a comprehensive reports of all certificate management operations. Like we have an overall SSL certificates report that, and this report can be customized where you can enable or disable the data that should be reflected in this report. We have the SSL expiry report, request report for the public CAs. So if you want these reports on demand, you can just click on a report, export them in a PDF or a CSV format, or you can directly send it across to multiple email addresses. In case if you would like to receive these reports automatically from Key Manager Plus, you can very well schedule a task where you can go choose the schedule type as a report, select the report type as per your requirement. So based on the recurrence type that you're going to choose, either daily, weekly, or monthly, the tool will automatically generate these reports and it will send it to the email addresses mentioned here. You can also select the report format. It can either be a PDF or a CSV format and click Save. So apart from reports, any operation that you perform in Key Manager Plus will be audited. To view the instant audit, you can view it under the Audit tab based on who performed the operation, when, what type of operation it is, and the description for that operation. You can also configure notification alerts on audit. So you can go to Settings, Notification Audit. So here, based on the operation that you're going to choose, when this operation is initiated in Key Manager Plus, you can configure this audit notification and receive an alert through an email or as an SNMP trap or syslog message. And you can also notify or configure to whom it has to be notified, either to all administrators or to specific group of people. So that's it. I think I'm done with the webinar. If you have any questions, you can let me know. Right. Thank you for your patience. If you have any further queries, drop an email to our official email address, keymanagerplus-support@manageengine.com. Thank you.